Welcome to this video where I'm going to talk about ITIL4 incident management. The idea behind this video is you can use it as an audiobook. I hope I managed in creating this experience. Main important item for ITIL4 practice management certification is to check the syllabus and study the actual practices. I never made an audiobook before, hence I do hope this will be beneficial for you and it will give you the experience I intend to create for you. If you have listened or watched to this video, will you be able to pass the exam? No, it will not be possible. It is an addition towards the studying you are already doing. Hi, I'm Birger, ITIL Master and Ambassador. So the content of this video. A lot of it will be me reading from the incident management practice. I will mention the sections where applicable in the topics I'm going to talk about. The idea is to follow the syllabus. What I'm going to cover in this video. Key terms you need to know. Purpose of the incident management practice. Benefits for the service provider and consumer. The practice success factors. The metrics. The incident management practice in relation towards the 4 dimensions. Capability assessment and development. Recommendations for practice success. Now, let us start with the key terms. Incident, an unplanned interruption to a service or reduction in the quality of a service. Incident model, a repeatable approach to the management of a particular type of incident. Major incident, an incident with significant business impact requiring an immediate coordinated resolution. Workaround, a solution that reduces or eliminates the impact of an incident or problem for which a full resolution is not yet available. Some workarounds reduce the likelihood of incidents. Technical debt, the total rework backlog accumulated by choosing workarounds instead of systemic solutions that would take longer. Task priority, the importance of a task relative to other tasks. Tasks with a higher priority should be worked on first. Priority is defined in the context of all the tasks in the backlog. Prioritization, an action of selecting tasks to work on first, when it is impossible to assign resources to all tasks in the backlog. Swarming, a technique for solving various complex tasks. In swarming, multiple people with different areas of expertise work together on a task until it becomes clear which competencies are the most relevant and needed. The purpose of incident management. The purpose of incident management practice is to minimize the negative impact of incidents by restoring normal service operation as quickly as possible. With incident management, we want to minimize the negative impact of incidents. The benefits by managing this properly for the service provider are reduced losses caused by service unavailability, a better image due to uninterrupted services, fulfillment of SLAs with the service consumers, reduced costs of the service restoration due to knowledge capture and reuse, higher user satisfaction. Similar to the benefits for the provider, there are also benefits achieved for the service consumer. Following a summary. Reduced losses caused by business service unavailability, better image due to uninterrupted business services, and higher client and employee satisfaction. The practice success factors. What is a practice success factor? A practice success factor is a complex functional component of a practice that is required for the practice to fulfill its purpose. For the incident management practice, we have following practice success factors. Detecting incidents early. Resolving incidents quickly and efficiently. Continually improving incident management. More in-depth details around the incident management practice I'm not covering. Please check out section 2.4 and subsections from the practice. The effectiveness and performance of the ITIL practices should be assessed within the context of the value streams to which the practice contributes. I will talk about value streams a bit later in this video, But keep in mind what I just said. The incident management practice contributes to value streams. Now, the metrics for detecting incidents early. Time between incident occurrence and detection. Percentage of incidents detected via monitoring and event management. Now the metrics for the second practice success factor, resolving incidents quickly and efficiently. Time between incident detection and acceptance for diagnosis. Time of diagnosis. Number of reassignments. Percentage of waiting time in the overall incident handling time. First time resolution rate. Meeting the agreed resolution time. User satisfaction with incident handling and resolution. Percentage of the incidents resolved automatically. Percentage of incidents resolved before being reported by users. The metrics for the third and last practice success factor. Continue improving incident management. Percentage of incident resolutions using previously identified and recorded solutions. Percentage of incidents resolved using incident models. Improvement of the key practice indicators over time. Balance between the speed and effectiveness metrics for incident resolution. Processes for the incident management practice. First, the definition of a process. A set of interrelated or interacting activities that transform inputs into outputs. A process takes one or more defined inputs and turns them into defined outputs. Processes define the sequence of actions and their dependencies. The incident management practice has two processes: incident handling and resolution. This process focuses on the handling and resolution of individual incidents from detection to closure. Periodic incident review. This process ensures that the lessons from incident handling and resolution are learned and the approaches to incident management are continually improved. In the next slides, I'm going to talk about the processes in more detail, but still very limited. This all comes from the Incident Management Practice, Section 3. As mentioned in previous slide, a process transforms inputs into outputs. For the incident handling and resolution process, there are the following inputs: monitoring and event data, user queries, configuration information, IT asset information, service catalog, SLAs with consumers and suppliers and partners, capacity and performance information, continuity policies and plans, information security policies and plans, problem records, knowledge records. Following activities we do in the incident handling and resolution process: incident detection, incident registration, incident classification, incident diagnosis, incident resolution, and incident closure. These activities create the following outputs: incident records, incident status communications, problem investigation requests, change requests, incident reports, updates to the knowledge base, restored configuration items and services. For the second process, periodic incident review, we have these inputs: current incident models and procedures, incident records and reports, policies and regulatory requirements, configuration information, IT asset information, SLAs with consumers and suppliers and partners, capacity and performance information, continuity policies and plans, security policies and plans, You have three activities in the periodic incident review process, being incident review and incident record analysis, incident improvement initiation, and incident model communication. These activities have created the following outputs: updated incident models, updated incident handling procedures, incident records, change requests, improvement initiatives, and incident review reports. Value streams are very important. They turn demand or opportunity into value for the stakeholders. Value streams are supported by the various practices to create the value. Value streams are, like everything in the service value system, subject to continuous improvement. To improve value streams, we do value stream mapping. We execute following steps as part of the value stream mapping. First, identify the scope of the value stream. It can be mapped to a particular product or service, or applied to most or all of them. If the value stream is not clearly identified, you might first want to take a step of identifying the value streams. Second step, define the purpose of the value stream from the business standpoint. Do not just look at it from a practice point of view, but from business. What are the stakeholder needs and wants? Do the service value stream walk as step 3? Consider the lean technique or Gemba. Identify the workflow steps. Also look at possible input from other practices or input required from third parties. Collect data as you walk. Evaluate the workflow steps. Map the activities in the flows in an ideal situation. The flow goes smoothly without delays and pauses. Create and review the timeline and resource level. Map out the process times and lead times for resources and workflow through the workflow steps. Step 4. Reflect on the value stream map. Identify factors that might not have been entirely apparent at first. The information collected is used at this step to find the waste, not only for the incident management practice. Other steps from other practices might be involved in creating the waste. Step 5. Create a to-be value stream map. This informs and drives improvement. The value stream should be considered holistically to ensure an end-to-end efficiency and value creation, not just local improvements. Step 6. Use the to-be value stream map. This is also the point where we plan improvements, for instance, updating the incident models as part of the review. Refer to Continual Improvement Practice Guide for practical improvement model. The organization and people dimension. The structure and naming of each role may differ from organization to organization, so any role defined in ITIL should not be treated as mandatory or even recommended. Keep in mind, roles are not job titles. One person can take on multiple roles, and one role can be assigned to multiple people. ITIL makes use of the LACMT model. Leader. Decision-making, delegating, overseeing other activities, providing incentives and motivation, and evaluating outcomes. Administrator. Assigning and prioritizing tasks, record-keeping, ongoing reporting, and initiating basic improvements. Coordinator communicator. Coordinating multiple parties, maintaining communication between stakeholders, and running awareness campaigns. Methods and technique expert. Designing and implementing work techniques, documenting procedures, consulting and processes, work analysis, and continual improvement. Technical expert, providing technical subject matter expertise and conducting expertise-based assignment. The position of the letter in a profile indication indicates the importance of the capability for that role. For example, the incident manager has the CMAT profile. Coordinator, methods and techniques expert, administrator, and technical expert, which means coordinator is the most important skill. Next required but less important skill would be the methods and the techniques expert, and so on. The incident management role is often performed by a dedicated person. This role is typically responsible for the coordination of incident handling in the organization or in a specific area, such as a territory, product, or technology. This is depending on the organizational design. Coordinating manual work with incidents, especially those involving multiple teams. Monitoring and reviewing the work of teams that handle and resolve incidents, ensuring sufficient awareness of the incidents and their status across the organization. Conducting regular incident reviews and initiating improvements of the incident management practice, the incident models, and the incident handling procedures. Developing the organization's expertise in the processes and methods of the incident management practice. Depending on the company, the incident management is organized in different ways. Some examples of how specialists are grouped are by technical domain, by product or service, by territory, or by consumer types. Either way, it is crucial to ensure effective cooperation between members of different teams involved in handling and the resolution of incidents. Swarming is a very useful technique which is important regardless of how a company has chosen to group their specialists. Tiered versus flat team structures. Historically, teams have been organized hierarchically. If an issue could not be resolved by the first line, it would be escalated to the next level of specialists, or at some point towards the suppliers, the so-called tiered model. Given a more push for agile ways of working and collaboration, a flattered team structure is replacing the tiered models. Swarming is a good example of this happening in a company. The incident management practice is the foundation of team dynamics, because they affect the functioning of the support operation. The following issues, however, do recur very often. Incidents or bouts between teams. Team members experiencing a lack of autonomy and report being blocked by others. A culture prevails where lone heroes are rewarded when incidents are solved. This leads to a number of negative effects, such as the incident management practice being out of sync, resolutions happening slowly or not at all, a decrease in morale, a lack of motivation, an unhealthy degree of competitiveness entering the workplace. Furthermore, trust between team members breaks down. Approaches such as DevOps and techniques such as swarming show some of the characteristics needed to encourage a positive culture, although it is not necessary to follow these approaches to achieve the correct team dynamic. The following three main areas needs to be addressed. Collective responsibility. If resolving incidents is the primary responsibility for the team, that is what individuals within the team will focus on. No blame culture. There should be no blame culture within teams, otherwise this will lead to the deterioration of trust between individuals, teams, and suppliers. Something from my personal experience, I introduced reviewing badly handled incidents as part of the retrospectives within the team, purely for education and learning for the overall team. Not to blame, but to celebrate the learning for everyone. Continue learning. I mentioned this also earlier already. Team members need to share the lessons that they have learned from experimenting and past failures so they can learn and improve as a team. The information and technology dimension and the incident management practice. Automation solutions for the incident management practice. And generally, these are applications used across the organization, not just by the incident management practice. Monitoring and event management tools are used for detection of incidents and confirmation of incident closure. The alarm should be cleared. Analysis of trends and events during incident diagnosis. Workflow management and collaboration tools are used for management of incident lifecycle, support and automation of incident models, communication between specialists involved in incident handling and resolution, integration of the practices into service value systems. Knowledge management tools are used for classification and assignment of incidents, identification of known incident solutions. Service configuration management tools are used for incident classification and diagnosis. Remote administration, diagnosis, deployment, and other infrastructure tools and software management tools are used for incident diagnosis and resolution. Analysis and reporting tools are used for practice measurement and reporting. Work planning and prioritization tools are used for planning and tracking of improvement initiatives. Last but least, survey tools are used for collection of feedback for practice improvement. Recommendations for automation of the incident management practice. Automate the value stream, not just the practice. As mentioned before, a value stream is supported by various practices. The incident management practice is obviously for the incident management resolution value stream. Incident management is in most companies a very well established value stream and one of the first to get automated. Make sure that as part of the automation also other practices are considered. For example, a simple change tracking workflow. For recurring incidents, it should be possible to capture and reuse of proven solutions. Think and work holistically. Allow different workflows for user and event-initiated incidents. Look at the incident from two perspectives, proactive and reactive. The reactive incidents are usually initiated incidents. Proactive incidents are incidents before the user has experienced an impact. Detection, classification, communication, and conditions for closing a record are all handled differently for user-initiated and event-initiated incidents, even if the event-initiated incidents are handled manually. Attempts to fit both types of incidents in one workflow with the same forms and business logic are unlikely to be successful. The handling of event-generated incidents can and should be automated if possible. Do not overcomplicate the workflow and business rules. Make sure the forms used are easy as possible to populate. Make use of pre-populated forms if applicable. They need to be user-friendly and quick to populate. Pay attention to measurement and reporting from the beginning. Incident management is a high-load practice, and it is not possible to monitor the status of incidents and the performance of the practice without a convenient dashboard. It is impossible to understand the trends and to analyze the work of teams without a flexible reporting engine. The popular statement "you cannot manage what you don't measure" is not always true, but it certainly applies to large amounts of data, and the incident management practice generates large amounts of data. Allow for swarming and other forms of cross-functional collaboration. I mentioned it already a couple of times before. Swarming is key for incident management. However, the teams are not always have access to tools supporting this technique. It is, however, important to register and capture the information from the various teams in an incident management application. It will be useful for any future reoccurrences of an incident. Communications are important. From personal experience, I know that communication is very likely the most important element of driving customer satisfaction during incidents. Regular updates and concise incident update information to be shared with the relevant stakeholders, both internal and external, is extremely important. Leverage machine learning capabilities. Machine learning and predictive analytics can support the incident management practice. It can be used for incident detection, matching, classification, and prioritization. Resolution in some cases can be enhanced or fully automated using machine learning. As with all machine learnings out there, the reference data used for the learning module is extremely important. It needs to be at a very high level quality. The partner and supplier dimension. There's nowadays not an organization delivering services all on its own. There are very likely other suppliers involved in delivery of services, similar for the incident management practice. Which areas can partners and suppliers support the incident management practice? Performing incident management activities. Some incident management activities can be largely or completely be performed by a specialized supplier. Third parties are often involved in incident diagnosis and resolution, and sometimes in other activities. It is important to ensure effective integration of third parties in the incident-related workflows and information exchange, as well as their adherence to relevant policies. Incident models should define how third parties are involved in incident resolution and how the organization ensures effective collaboration. The provisioning of software tools. Most software tools are used for incident management or shared with other practices. However, implementation and use of integrated service management information systems often starts with automating incident management and service desk activities. Consulting and advisory. Specialized suppliers who have developed expertise in incident management can help establish and develop practices, adopt methods and techniques such as swarming, and initially developing incident models. Capability assessment and development. ITIL defines 5 levels in the capability assessment or maturity. An internal assessment can be done to validate how the practices are performing, highlighting areas for improvement. Not every practice has to be at maximum level 5. This would be very resource intensive and costly for the organization. We are following levels from low to high. Level 1. The practice is not well organized. It is performed as initial or intuitive. It may occasionally or partially achieve its purpose through an incomplete set of activities. Level 2. The practice systematically achieves its purpose through a basic set of activities supported by specialized resources. Level 3. The practice is well defined and achieves its purpose in an organized way, using dedicated resources and relying on inputs from other practices that are integrated in towards a service management system. Level 4. The practice achieves its purpose in a highly organized way, and its performance is continually measured and assessed in the context of the service management system. Level 5. The practice is continually improving organizational capabilities associated with its purpose. In the next slides, I'm going to mention all the criteria which were defined for the practice success factor. Each criterion is linked to one of the 4 dimensions. I left out the maturity level on the slides, but you find these back in the practice book. The criterions for the first practice success factor of the incident management practice: detecting incidents early. The capability assessment for detecting incidents early from the dimensions point of view, first starting with value streams and processes. Incidents are usually detected immediately after they occur. Incident detection is integrated into the relevant value streams. The effectiveness of incident detection is measured, reported, and regularly reviewed and continually improved. The next capability assessment criterion we have is for the dimension organization and people. Remember, I'm still talking about the practice success factor, detecting incidents early. We have just one criterion. The users and other relevant stakeholders know how to report incidents and report them as soon as possible. Following capability assessment criterion we have is for the dimension information and technology. We have 2 criteria. Incident detection is automated where relevant. Information about detected incident is traced and managed in an integrated information system. And the last capability criteria is for the dimension partners and suppliers. Also, 1 criteria. Third-party incidents are detected and reported as soon as possible. These were the criteria for the capability assessment and development for the practice success factor, detecting incidents early. Remember them as best as you can. Keep in mind, the word detection is used very often in the criteria descriptions. Second practice success factor, resolving incidents quickly, and the assessment criteria starting with the value streams and processes dimension. Incidents are usually resolved in the quickest possible way and resolved within the agreed target resolution times. The resolution of incidents is standardized where relevant. Incident resolution is optimized for the complexity of the environment and integrated into the relevant value streams. The effectiveness of incident resolution is measured, reported, regularly reviewed, and improved. The next capability assessment criteria we have for the dimension organization and people is, remember, I am still talking about a practice success factor, resolve incidents quickly. That's just one criterion. The competencies required to resolve incidents are identified and skilled human resources are available. Next up, the criteria for the partner and suppliers dimension for solving incidents quickly as just one assessment. Third-party dependencies affecting incident resolutions are identified and third-party resources are available where relevant. And the last dimension, information and technology, also one criterion. Information about incident resolution is tracked and managed in an integral information system. Like previous criteria, try to remember this as best as you can. Keep in mind the word resolve is used very often in the criteria descriptions for the resolving incident quickly practice success factor. With respect towards the development of the practice, the results we get from the review of the assessment of the criteria gives a clear gap of the areas we can improve, not necessarily have to improve. That depends on the ambition of the organization. As mentioned before, not all practices have to be at the highest capability level. Last and third practice success factor, continual improve incident management and the assessment criteria. For continual improve incident management, we only have two dimensions to talk about, value streams and processes and organization and people. Let me start with the assessment criteria for organization and people. The competencies required for performing incident management are identified and skilled human resources are available. The following assessment criteria for continual improve incident management are for the dimension value streams and processes. The approach to incident management is defined, discussed, and agreed at the relevant level of the organization. The responsibility for the approach to incident management is clearly defined, regularly reviewed, and continually improved. The incident management approach is integrated with other standards and approaches adopted by the organization. The effectiveness of incident management approach is measured and reported. On the last slide, some recommendations for the success of incident management. Look at the incidents from the service consumer perspective. What does it mean for the actual user? What's the impact they experience? Look at it from their side, not the SLA. Try to restore services as quickly as possible. Similar to incidents detected by monitoring and event management, try to look at it from a business perspective. They may or may not yet impact users. Also here the statement, try to resolve it as quickly as possible, mitigating any user or customer impact. Gather and reuse data. Think about the incident models. Gather information from the recurring incidents, reuse the data captured in the resolution of these incidents, and create incident models to improve the overall customer incident journey. Understand, manage, and improve the incident resolution value stream. Look at the incident resolution value stream. It is supported by several practices, of which the incident management practice is a very important practice. Make sure all practices are well integrated into the value stream. Develop the practice continually, but don't overcomplicate it. Start with the most critical products and services and with basic workflows from detection to resolution. Gradually increase both the scope and the capability level based on the business requirement and stakeholder feedback. Do not try to boil the ocean. Apply agile practices whilst improving it. Adjust for complexity. Incident models are interesting candidates for further development, automation, or shift left, either to a first-line service desk or towards a self-service capability. Demonstrate business value. Like many things, measurement is important. The management practice is a high-load practice producing a lot of data. Measurement, reporting, and make its performance visible using dashboards both for internal and external stakeholders. We reached the end of this video, or hopefully audiobook. I hope this was useful for you and is helping you on your ITIL4 journey. If you've already done some of the studying, you will know I did not cover everything. That would have meant me reading the full practice document. Thank you for watching or listening to this video.